Hello and welcome to another episode of today's GK. Let's begin with the practice question of the last segment. Consider the following statements regarding Indian Ocean Dipole. It refers to the difference in sea surface temperatures in opposite parts of the Indian Ocean. Positive IOD results in fewer cyclones than usual in the Arabian Sea. Now we have to select the correct statement. Only the first is correct. A is the correct answer here. The Indian Ocean Dipole is often called the Indian Nino. This is because of its similarity to the Pacific equivalent. It refers to the difference in sea surface temperatures in opposite parts of the Indian Ocean. Positive IOD results in more cyclones than usual in the Arabian Sea. The Indian Ocean Dipole effect demonstrated that a positive IOD index often negated the effect of El Nino, resulting in increased monsoon rains in several El Nino years like 83, 94 and 97. Two poles of the IOD. The eastern pole around Indonesia and western of the African coast were independently and cumulatively affecting the quality of rains for the monsoon in the Indian subcontinent. Consider the following statements regarding Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change. It was set up by the World Meteorological Organization and United Nations Environment Programme. Working Group 1 of the assessment report deals with the actions that can be taken to combat climate change. So we have to select the correct statement. The first is correct, second is not. A is the correct answer here. Recently, the IPCC released the second part of its sixth assessment report, and it deals with the climate change impacts, risk and vulnerabilities and adaptation measures. The Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change is the international body for assessing the science related to the climate change. It was set up in 1988 by the WMO and UNEP. It was set up to provide policymakers with regular assessment of the scientific basis of climate change. It has its impacts and future risks and options for adaptation and mitigation. Every few years, about 7 years, the IPCC produces assessment reports that are the most comprehensive scientific evaluation of the state of the Earth's climate. These are prepared by 3 working groups. Working Group 1 deals with scientific basis for climate change. Second talks about impacts, vulnerabilities and adaptation. Third one talks about the steps or actions that can be taken to combat climate change. Consider the following statements regarding malaria. Parasites causing malaria multiply within the liver cell. The parasites spread through the bites of infected female Aedes aegypti mosquito. It is preventable as well as curable. We have to select the correct statement. 1 and 3 are correct. C is the correct answer. IPCC report has observed a shift in the distribution of malaria and dengue to higher altitude areas. In India, the IPCC has projected changes in the spatial distribution of malaria, warning of potential outbreak in the Himalayan region besides the southern and eastern states. Malaria is a life-threatening mosquito-borne blood disease caused by Plasmodium parasites. It is predominantly found in the tropical and subtropical areas of Africa, South America as well as Asia. The parasites spread through the bites of infected female Anopheles mosquito, and after entering the human body, the parasite initially multiply within the liver cells and then attack the red blood cells, resulting in the rupture. It is preventable as well as curable. Consider the following statements regarding the European Union. So we have to see amongst these 3 which are not correct. Remember that. The Treaty of Lisbon gave the European Union powers to authorize, sign international treaties, and Eurozone is a visa-free travel zone in the European Union, and in 2015 the European Union received the Nobel Peace Prize. We have to select the not correct statement. I'm again saying only the second one is not correct. B is the correct answer here. Recently, the Ukrainian president has officially signed an application for Ukraine's membership in the European Union, which is an economic and political union of 27 countries. It operates an internal market that allows free movement of goods, capital, services and people between the member states. The Treaty of Lisbon, enacted in 2009, gave the European Union more broad powers that included being authorized to sign international treaties, increase border patrol and other security and enforcement provision. The Eurozone is a monetary union of members and that are from European Union, states of European Union that have adopted the euro as their primary currency and sole legal tender. In 2012, the EU received the Nobel Peace Prize for having contributed to the advancement of peace and reconciliation, democracy and human rights in Europe. Moving on. Consider the following statements. Russia and Ukraine export around 80% of the world's sunflower oil. The Yellow Revolution was launched to increase the production of edible oil seeds in India. India is the largest importer of edible oil in the world. We have to select the correct statement. All are correct. D is the correct answer. Amidst a raging war between Russia and Ukraine, shipment of cooking oil to India are at a risk as logistics and loading remain stuck at various ports. Russia and Ukraine, the two nations at war against each other, export around 80% of the world's sunflower oil. The Yellow Revolution is one of the color revolutions that was launched to increase the production of edible oil seeds in the country to meet the domestic demands, and India is the largest importer of edible oil in the world. Imports about 14 to 15 million metric ton per year. Consider the following statements. The Jan Aushadhi Kendras can be set up by self-help groups and NGOs anywhere outside the hospital premises. Pradhan Mantri Bharatiya Jan Aushadhi Pariyojana is a campaign launched by the Ministry of Ayush. Only the first statement is correct, so A will be the correct answer. Moving on. The Pharmaceuticals and Medical Devices Bureau of India has organized a week-long celebration at different locations across the country to celebrate the 4th Jan Aushadhi Divas. Theme of Jan Aushadhi Divas is Jan Aushadhi Jan Upayogi. The Jan Aushadhi Kendras can be set up by the doctors, pharmacists, entrepreneurs, self-help groups, NGOs, charitable society at any suitable place or outside the hospital premises. Pradhan Mantri Bharatiya Jan Aushadhi Pariyojana is a campaign launched by the Department of Pharmaceuticals. Consider the following statements. Russia has the largest stockpile of nuclear weapons in the world. The Tsar Bomba is the most powerful nuclear weapon ever created and tested. North Korea joined the Non-Proliferation Treaty as a non-nuclear weapon state, but announced its withdrawal from it in 2003. We have to select the correct statement. All are correct. D is the correct answer. Vladimir Putin has ordered his military to put Russia's nuclear deterrence forces on high alert. Russia has the largest stockpile of nuclear weapons in the world, and it is thought that Russia owns more than half of the world's 14,000 nuclear weapons. The Tsar Bomba was developed by the Soviet Union in the early 1960s. It is the most powerful nuclear weapon ever created and tested, responsible for the largest man-made explosion in human history. It had an estimated explosive power of about 50 megatons. Belarus, Kazakhstan and Ukraine inherited nuclear weapons following the Soviet Union's 1991 collapse. It returned them to Russia and joined the NPT as non-nuclear weapon states. North Korea joined the NPT as a non-nuclear weapon state but announced its withdrawal from NPT in 2003. Which country has become the largest receiver of COVID-19 vaccines from the USA? The correct answer is option D, Bangladesh. Bangladesh has become the largest recipient of the COVID vaccines donated by the US worldwide via the COVAX facility of WHO. With the latest consignment of 10 million doses of Pfizer vaccine, the US has donated a total of 61 million doses of vaccines to Bangladesh. Ungalil Oruvan is an autobiography of which amongst the following icons? The correct answer is M.K. Stalin. Rahul Gandhi released M.K. Stalin's biography, Ungalil Oruvan, One Among You. Ungalil Oruvan pertains to the first 23 years of Stalin's life till he was arrested in 1976. Consider the following statements with respect to the International Olympiad on Astronomy and Astrophysics. The first IOAA was held in 2010. It was done to commemorate the 80th birth anniversary of the King Bhumibol Adulyadej of Thailand. India has yet not hosted any session of the IOAA. So we have to select the not correct statement. First and third are not correct. Second is correct. So C is the correct answer here. The International Olympiad on Astronomy and Astrophysics has issued an open statement requesting for peace in Ukraine and in the world. The 15th IOAA is scheduled to be held in Kyiv in Ukraine in August 2022. The first IOAA was held from 30th November to 9 December 2007 and it was done to commemorate the 80th birth anniversary of the King Bhumibol Adulyadej of Thailand and the 84th birth anniversary of Princess Galyani Vandana of Thailand. Azerbaijan, Bangladesh, Belarus, Bolivia, Brazil, China, Greece, India, Indonesia and many countries were participating in it. The 10th IOAA was held from 9 to 19 December in 2016. Total 46 teams from 41 countries participated for the event in Bhubaneswar, Odisha, India. With respect to Ukraine, consider the following statements. It is the poorest country in Europe in terms of GDP and gross national income per capita. So, first, second goes like Pakistan is Ukraine's largest export destination in the Asia-Pacific region? We have to select the correct statement. Only the first is correct is the correct answer. According to President Putin, modern Ukraine was entirely and fully created by Russia. Ukraine is the east of Europe. It is the poorest country in Europe in terms of GDP and gross national income per capita. It has deposits of iron ore and coal and exports corn, sunflower oil, iron and iron products and wheat. India is Ukraine's largest export destination in the Asia-Pacific region, and the country's major export to India is sunflower oil. It is followed by inorganic chemicals, iron and steel, plastics and chemicals. Ukraine's major import from India is pharmaceutical products. Let's move on to the practice question for the next segment. Consider the following statements. Bimal Jalan Committee emphasizes on the importance of market infrastructure institutions. Stock exchanges, depositories and clearing corporations are collectively referred to as securities market infrastructure institutions. So we have to select the correct statement. That's it for today. Tomorrow we shall meet again with another segment. Until then, stay updated and thank you so much for watching.